number 24 is a game I have for the PlayStation 2. It is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Another game that I have discovered. No, I haven't discovered this game with this list. I read about this in a magazine when I was still buying magazines, and I saw it on their DVDs. This is also a game that deserves to be in this list, if not only for the first Prince of Persia. Maybe that's a bit overreacted, but the Sands of Time. Let me tell you something before you say like, oh, I don't like this game. And that's okay. You don't have to like it, obviously. I mean, I don't like this game. I mean, I have finished it because I really want to know how the story continued. I even have the sequel of this game, if you might have seen my PlayStation 2 collection video. I have the sequel, there's even a third one, and you have the Prince of Persia for the PlayStation 3, which has nothing to do with this one. You have a Sands of Time type game for the PlayStation 3, which was a little bit, kind of like a disappointment. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time was the first game that did the climbing you have in Uncharted. Uncharted had a climbing system. You jump from platform, you hang on platforms. This was the first game that did that. Of course, you have your Sands of Time. You have your bullet time like a Max Payne. Sands of Time has like this. Not only does it have great level design, great controls, the way you climbed was revolutionary for its time. And Sands of Time had that. So that is actually the biggest reason why you put Sands of Time on there. Of course, the presentation, the gameplay was just fantastic. So, and number 23 is a game that also have to make this list. Maybe I'm overreacting, but absolutely not. This is Metroid Prime for the GameCube. This is one of those games that has to make a list. Doesn't matter how high or how low. It has to be on this list to get recognition from. This game is amazing. I mean, this game is not really for me. You backtrack a lot, but besides that, Metroid Prime is so good. Like when I see a good game, technically, it's true. The Metroid Prime is definitely one of the best games ever, and it's because of its level design, its presentation, its gameplay. It's amazing. Just listen to what they have to say. In the Metroid series, weapon upgrades are more than just bigger, better toys. They provide an elegant solution to the problem of pacing. Every time you find something, you can advance in a different part. See, this is the reason why I dislike this game. There's a lot of backtracking, and it's really, if you don't like backtracking, that this game is absolutely not for you. But what I do like is how the levels are being turned out. This game is big, and there's a whole bunch of things to collect. There's a whole bunch of things to find. You have snow levels, but the level design is so fantastic. The presentation is well done, and the controls and gameplay, it's fun for the people that likes this. And the whole ideas and the way, this is like Super Metroid, but then in 3D. Another game that is very popular amongst a lot of people. This game is still being played today. This is like an MMORPG, and maybe the first huge popular MMORPG. Maybe that's not true. That's very debatable. This is World of Warcraft for the PC. What can I say about World of Warcraft? It's your typical MMORPG, but seriously, millions of people are still playing it even till this day. You still get downloadable contents for them. You can still get like extra games for them. Last year there was a game where you can now play as a panda. I don't know what they're exactly called, but that means more worlds to explore. World of Warcraft is definitely a game that should be on this list, but it doesn't mean that other MMORPGs are less than this one. I'm not so sure if a lot of people disagree with this game being in the list, and especially number 22. But if you have to choose an MMORPG, choose World of Warcraft. I mean, all the other MMORPGs are just as great, but World of Warcraft, I think you could say they set a standard. And sure, you have Guild Wars and stuff like that, but World of Warcraft, it should be in this list. I mean, come on. And number 21 is an absolute game. I was kind of surprised that this game was at 21, but after I played it, I absolutely agreed. This game deserves to be on 21. This game also came out for the Wii, but this is the PlayStation 2 version. And number 21, we have Okami. Okami is absolutely, without any doubt, there's no discussion worth. Okami is absolutely one of the best games ever. But Okami is like this huge world. There are so many things to explore. The presentation, this game is perfect. The controls, the level design, the worlds, the presentation, the characters, the story, everything. I never knew it was this good. You know, I discovered Okami with this book, and I bought it because of this book. I was not disappointed. I would play it again. This game is, but sure, it is fun for me. But is it technically good? Absolutely. I've already talked about that game in my PlayStation 2 collection, like most of the games I have here. Yeah, of course you have your brush. You can make certain things appear with your brush. You know, like water, obstacles, and of course you stumble across things in the game which you cannot use right now. If you learn different brush techniques, you can go back to that place and you can use that brush technique to get to certain places or to do certain stuff. What are they saying here is themed by traditional Japanese watercolors, cel-shaded and flowing, and filtered through parchment. It is as if the entire game is on canvas. Well, that's the most beautiful game ever made, with nothing on next gen ever coming close, even coming close. Well, that's a bit overreacted, but it is one of the most good-looking PlayStation 2 games, and maybe one of the most good-looking games ever. If you would look at its time, every game that would be nominated for that list. But sure, people are talking about the graphics of this game, but everything is perfect. From exploration to... I really want to tell you how much I like this game. At number 20, it's Civilization 4 for the PC and Mac. Just like with a lot of games in this list, you have to choose a game. And of course, there has to be a Civilization on this list. If it's number 20, it's fine by me, because Civilization is a perfect series, and already the first Civilization was already great. Of course, its sequels were fantastic too, and they've chosen Civilization 4 for this book. It deserves it. I mean, Civilization is so huge, so perfect, so well made. You know, like I said, they've chosen... this is like an RTS, but more like a world simulator, more like a time simulator. I don't know how I should call it, but the game is so perfect, so well made, so well thought out. No game will surpass Civilization. You know, like I'm saying, I'm not really into PC games these days. I mean, I've just played Star Wars: The Old Republic because I like BioWare, and I like the whole scheme that BioWare uses with answering questions and stuff like that. But Civilization is truly an amazing series, but the first one, the way you civilize is well done gameplay wise from a game standpoint of view. It's just, what they're saying here is just that it works so well, driving players to a state of catatonic madness, spawning the phrase, "just one more turn can only be considered a miracle." Well, that's a little bit overreacted, but there are no words. Some games are so good, there are no words to explain how this game is. You know, Civilization, a great series, but every game is just gold. At number 19 is a game I have for the Xbox 360, for the PC, and for the PlayStation 3. It is Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Do I really need to say anything more? Yet again, of course, they had to pick an Elder Scrolls game. What list is completed without an Elder Scroll game? They have to choose an Elder Scroll game. They absolutely have to choose it. Doesn't matter which one. Daggerfall, Morrowind, Oblivion. Skyrim wasn't out yet, so this was actually the last one at that time. But Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion, choose that one, it's fine. Of course, the game is fantastic, but the whole series is also fantastic. This, people, is one of the best RPG series in the world. And I've talked about, I've talked about Chrono Trigger, I've talked about Secret of Mana for the Super Nintendo. Those games were fantastic, but as a first-person RPG, as a series overall, how huge it is and how much there is to do, these games are not meant for finishing. These games are just meant for playing when you feel like it. And Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, it's just oblivious how good it is. There isn't much. The world, the things, the series itself. I mean, Morrowind, Daggerfall was already considered to be fantastic for its time, and I wouldn't surprise if Daggerfall would be in this list, but, they've chosen the newer version of Oblivion. And when I first laid eyes on Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, I was blown away. Seriously, when I saw that game, I mean, everywhere you go, there was something new to see. There was almost unsurpassed in any other type of video game, and Oblivion was like, wow, I mean, this is a fantastic sequel to already a fantastic game. Next on the list is my number one favorite. Maybe you can already guess it. Because if you have seen my Final Fantasy collection. At number 18, Final Fantasy 7. I have more versions, people. Here, Final Fantasy, the Platinum version. Oh wait, but there's more. Final Fantasy 7, the PC version. Oh my goodness gracious, so many games, so many Final Fantasies. Let me just be honest here. Final Fantasy 7 might just be the best RPG ever created. That is debatable, I know. This game could have been bad, from what I understand here. Let me just read this out loud. Yes, Final Fantasy 7 is a great game, but it has difficulty within its medium. It performs a balancing act between the old and new that could have led to disaster. From what they're saying, it was a high risk of Squaresoft to make this game. I mean, first you had this two-dimensional. Now, Final Fantasy 7 is a revolution. The way it mixes story, RPG elements, the old RPGs, with the random encounters, and its videos, its story, the characters, the way it mixed was so revolutionary for its time. I really mean that. This is not to say like, oh, it's my favorite, so it's automatically one of the best. It is one of the best, but that's not because it's my favorite. It's just is. Final Fantasy VII, it is a pitch perfect game. They have made all the right choices. They have made all the right choices for this game, and it's a piece of art. It's just not only graphically but also gameplay wise, the mix between 3D, because first you had a whole bunch of two-dimensional RPGs, so they had to lift it into the 3D world, obviously. Final Fantasy VII was a whole new opening, was a whole new inspiration to so many developers to make 3D RPGs. And Final Fantasy VII as a JRPG, this may be one of the best JRPGs ever created, technically speaking. At number 17, another game I have in my collection. A game that also had to make the list. Maybe not this high, but it still had to make it. A game that has not aged well, but then again, it might. It's playable. GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64. A game so good. I mean, back in the day, people were astonishing. Their breaths were taken away, like, the whole time you played it. This game came before Perfect Dark. And Perfect Dark is maybe a little bit better, but only just a little bit. The reason why GoldenEye 007 is higher is because this is all before Perfect Dark. This is not the first first-person shooter. It would be silly to say that. And I'm not so sure if this is the first console first-person shooter. I don't know that for sure. It is the first first-person console shooter that is good. This is definitely the best first-person shooter on Nintendo 64. Of course, Perfect Dark would be easily also be pretty good, but let me just read a little bit here. Hollywood gunplay, authentic presentation, wide-ranging missions, generous multiplayer, and missions that scale to difficulty. It's an intimidating ensemble. Of course, what also made this game great is, of course, it's you could play against 4 other people, which makes this game even a lot more fun. So it's not only is the single player fantastic, not only does it have fantastic single player, great graphics, great missions as well. It has a nice multiplayer mode, and it was a lot of fun against other people. That would also make this game great. GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64. At number 16, I've talked about that this game had to make this list, that this game would make this list, but I haven't talked about this specific one. Of course, the series has to make this list. It was only the question which game it was. It's a game I don't have in my collection. It is Street Fighter Anniversary. Yes, for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. They have to choose a Street Fighter 2 game. Almost every Street Fighter 2 game is amazing. And they chosen Street Fighter Anniversary. And of course they had to choose it because there's all kinds of Street Fighter games on this package. One of the texts is saying, an instant sensation, Street Fighter 2 became a bona fide fight, I don't know how you say that in English, and trend in 90s popular culture, spawning manga and anime series and toys. Street Fighter 2, you had to put a Street Fighter game in it, so they choose this one. Fine. But Street Fighter 2 was a revolution with a capital R. It is actually the first fighting game that was good, that had this system, that had this this fantastic, simplistic, simple system. It's just so amazing how this game was done. Its controls, its characters, its Hadokens, and its Sonic Booms and stuff like that. Street Fighter is just a breathtakingly well-made fighting game, and maybe one of the best fighting games ever created. And Street Fighter, it just had to make this list. You can't make a top 100 best video games list without a Street Fighter game. But Street Fighter 2 overall, unsurpassed. It's almost, and it aged greatly. At number 15 is a game I don't have personally. Another game in a series with whichever game you choose is fine. It is Pro Evolution Soccer 6. That is the game that they've chosen. And it's fine by me. I mean, just choose a Pro Evolution Soccer game and it will be fine. I have part 1, 2, 3, 4, 2008. They've chosen PES 6 because it was the newer one. But Pro Evolution Soccer, the first one, was such a revolution in soccer gaming. FIFA did the same thing. FIFA right now is much better than Pro Evolution Soccer. But what makes this game unsurpassable is its control scheme. The biggest pity about the PES series right now, that is not really changing. It doesn't really change. It always feels the same. But the PlayStation 2 area of the Pro Evolution Soccer is amazing. Pro Evolution Soccer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are maybe the best soccer games in history. The system, the controls, the AI, the modes, amazing. And sure, right now, PES doesn't seem like much anymore. I mean, FIFA is now the kings, obviously. Pro Evolution Soccer, back in the day, there weren't any other sports games that were better than PES, and I really mean that. Maybe you aren't a huge fan of football/soccer, okay, but this game technically, if you don't like it or not, it is technically one of the best games ever, and there's no way you can discuss it. Maybe it shouldn't be this high. Maybe it should. This is, like I'm saying, this is a game that deserves to be in this list. Doesn't matter what PES you choose in that area. You know, this is from 2000. This book is from 2007, so PES 6 was the newer one. So they choose that one. So it's fine by me. PES isn't just an amazing soccer series until 2009, I think. Number 15, Pro Evolution Soccer 6. At number 14, we have Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo. I have a copy of this game. Remember when I already said like a million times, like, this game has to be in the list. There is no discussion worth. I would say that Super Mario Kart is one of those games. Maybe not at number 14. I know that's a discussion. I know it's a stretch. I know it's debatable. But it's like one of those games that it revolutionized racing. And not all kind of racing games. But you know when you see a racing game where you can pick up power-ups and use it against your AI, against your enemy or whatever? It all came from Super Mario Kart. Super Mario Kart is a revolutionary game. It was simple. It looked great for its time. But not only was it fun in multiplayer, it was also fun in single player. Games like these are mostly fun in multiplayer. But single player was so well made. This game had great presentation, wonderful tracks, and it was never boring. And I'm talking about from a technical point of view. I mean, personally, this is a childhood game of mine, so I like it. But technically, it is astonishing. Super Mario Kart is definitely one of the best games ever, without any doubt. I love the artwork, by the way. Beautiful. Number 14, Super Mario Kart. Number 13 is a game you might not expect this game, but if I would say its name now, you would say like, oh yeah, absolutely, Ico. Ico is definitely a game that has to be on this list. Whether you like it or not, this game has to be. This game deserves to be on the list. It sold pretty poor, well, at least here in Europe. I don't know how well it sold in other countries, but Ico is definitely one of those games that is pitch perfect. From gameplay to controls to graphics, presentation was just wonderful. The level design was perfect. The gameplay was this is a perfect game, and it's beautiful. It's just wonderful done. I mean, this game, true geniuses were at work when they made Ico. This game is definitely made by somebody who knew what he was doing, and it's just so well done. This game deserves to be on this list, and maybe even this high. yes, Ico could easily be one of the best games ever, without any doubt or discussion. And sure, it's debatable which place it needs to be exactly on, but I'm glad it's number 13 because Ico deserved it. It's so perfect, and people have complained about the length, and it's understandable, but the reviews were ecstatic, but it didn't sold very well, at least here in Holland, and that's really a shame. When I bought it, when I bought this book, I already knew about this game, but I never knew how good it was, and then I bought this book, and then I played it myself, and amazing. Ico is definitely game. If you don't think it's fun, it's still for the experience. The character you play barely talks. He talks sometimes, but he's taken away to some prison and he accidentally escapes from his prison block. There it starts. That's it. Atmosphere, everything, beautiful locations, amazing. At number 12, there is a game that has to be in this list. Some series are so good you can pick every game from the series. They've picked one game from this series, and you probably wonder where it was. It's GTA Vice City at number 12. It is a action-adventure, free-roaming action-adventure. And of course, GTA 3 was already before GTA Vice City, but this game was better. I mean, there was story, the character you played talked, maybe the characters were a lot more interesting, but like I'm saying, Vice City, was a little bit better than GTA 3, but remember that GTA 3 was completely new. And sure, maybe you would say, well, there was GTA 1, but that was two-dimensional. Was also a fantastic video game, but GTA 3 opened up, it was an inspiration to so many people. There's really nothing I can say. There's really nothing I can say. GTA has to be in this list, and the reason that I'm like, yeah, it has to be in this list is already more than enough to explain to you guys that it has to be in this. Yeah, I can't say it enough. It has to be in this list. That was number 12, GTA Vice City, a game that deserves to be in this list. For number 11, there is a game you might not expect. Maybe you haven't thought about this. I have a copy. I've already showed you it in my Super Nintendo collection. It is Yoshi's Island. Of course, for the Super Nintendo. Another game that I've discovered through this book. I knew about this game, and when it came out, it was like a huge thing. It was like a true AAA title back in the day. But I've played this game, just like with Ico and GTA, obviously. It is perfect. From level design to presentation to controls to gameplay. Yoshi's Island is not only... I think everybody in the world will like Yoshi's Island. It is funny, it is cute, it is amazing. But not only is it just great presentation, technically speaking, through controls, difficulty, gameplay, everything. It is perfect. The thing what they are saying, this is a nice piece of text. Listen to this. For all that it's rooted in childish imagination, Yoshi's is one of the most authentic feeling two-dimensional worlds video games have created. And that is so true. Every level is like, it's like every step you take is like gold itself. I am not kidding. Yoshi's Island at number 11. Now we are at number 10. These are the last 10. At number 10 is a game I don't have as a copy, but if I see one, I might as well buy one. It is number 10. It's Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo. Well, you would have already guessed that every game now is already perfect. I mean, sometimes games has to be in the list, and Super Metroid is definitely a game that deserves it. And maybe number 10 is extremely high, but it's not like a big surprise. It's not like, no, it doesn't deserve to be at number 10. It deserves to be high. Where? It's not really, it doesn't really matter. It has to be in the list. And heck, let it be number 10. That's fine. It has fantastic worlds. It has exploration. It has great worlds to explore, items to pick up. I mean, like I said with Metroid Prime, that game is fantastic. But Super Metroid, I can't really say more. I have played this game. Well, I haven't played this game too much, but I have played it as ROM. Not too much. This isn't really my type of game because sometimes you have to backtrack a little bit too much. That's the reason why I didn't like Metroid Prime all that much. I kind of liked it, but technically speaking, it was still fantastic. Super Metroid is the same kind of thing. There's a lot of backtracking. And the thing about the number 10 until number 1 is that there are 4 pages instead of 2. But 2 pages are, of course, full of art design. And the rest, of course, is text. So there's really a lot they have to say about this game. But it's also the atmosphere that is in this game, the feeling that you get from this game. It is an experience, like I said, with a lot of great games. And I mean, somebody is saying this in the book. The perfect video game blueprint and still a huge inspiration in video game design, but never bettered. As a side-scroller, you know, that might be the case. It might be even better than Castlevania. As a side-scroller, this is maybe one of the best action-adventure side-scrollers ever created. And number 9 is a game I have. Remember, every game is a game you might have missed. You might have, like, hey, that game still hasn't been in this list. This won't surprise anybody. Tetris. For the various machines. Not only for the Game Boy, because this game is perfect. Tetris is one of the most ultimate simplistic games ever. Tetris. I have a Game Boy version because it came free with my Game Boy and I have a full package. There are no words. I mean, it's simple, but it's so deep. It's so perfect. Tetris is a perfect puzzle game. This is definitely the best puzzle game ever created. I mean, it's better than Pac-Man. It's better than Bust-A-Move. It's better than Dr. Mario. It's better than Puyo Pop Fever. It's better than Lumines. Tetris is just the king of puzzle games in history. Because of its... I don't really need to say too much about it. It's just blocks falling down, and that's what makes it so great. Wow, Tetris, not only is it super addictive, I cannot give you words that will make it justice. But there's so many great versions, and there's barely any version that is bad. From what I remember, I think the Tetris version of the CDI is kind of bad, but I don't know. Most versions are just fantastic. I mean, there's nothing you can do is wrong. I mean, all you do, blocks is falling down, and if you program the random blocks falling down, that's it. There you have. That's a Tetris game. This was all before Minecraft. Yeah, Minecraft is like Tetris 3D if you think about it. Who could say? Well, at number 8, people, is a game you might not agree with. You might not see it coming. Heck, you might even be a little bit irritated. Final Fantasy 12. I'm not making a joke. Now, before I'm gonna defend this game, because I personally say that yes, maybe number 8 is a bit high. Number 8 is really good. 12? Is it really that good? If this game was called differently, if this game was called Adventure World or something like that, they would have never criticized it, and I know that for sure. Because there's a certain reviewer on YouTube, I'm not going to call it, I'm not going to give him a name, and most of his reviews are just spot on, very good. He gave Final Fantasy 12 a 6.5. Either you are a fan or you're not a fan. And I'm not defending Final Fantasy 12, but I always judge a game for what it is. Sure, it's called Final Fantasy 12, but everybody knows that every Final Fantasy game is different from each other. Final Fantasy 12 is a game that, to my opinion, deserves to be in this list. It wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't in it, but that's why I like Edge. They just judge the game on its own. And Final Fantasy 12 on its own, it is a perfect, fantastic video game with great gameplay. There's a system called the Gambit system. I've already talked about Final Fantasy 12 in my Final Fantasy Collection video. But Final Fantasy 12 is one of those games that will always be misunderstood by fans and by non-fans. Because it's Final Fantasy, and it's not like any other Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy 12 is a truly amazing game. And not because I'm a Final Fantasy fan. I mean, I am a fan, but trust me, there are some Final Fantasy games I just don't understand, like Final Fantasy X2. Never quite understood that game, why they had to make a sequel. Final Fantasy X was a great RPG. You're right about the characters. The characters are a bit boring. I guess that's fine, but gameplay-wise, this game and the world you walk through, the presentation. One of the texts it is saying here is, hunting a big mark is a focused way to equip your party and quickly become as impulsive as the latest section of the adventure proper. Exactly. I don't know exactly what they mean with that, but I was thinking, let's read that. The greatest innovation in the game's interface is the Gambit system, perhaps the first successful piece of reverse engineering from the MMO scene. The Gambit system is perfect for the MMO. Number 7! Number 7 is a game you might have already expected long ago in the list, but here it is. A game you might have waited for. A game that is also pretty high on the list, maybe a little bit too high. Halo Combat Evolved. Halo is a game that is fantastic. Halo has solid gameplay, looks wonderful, and it is maybe one of the first, and I mean it, maybe one of the first games that was meant for the PC, but was also made for the console. It was actually a PC shooter, but it was made for console, and the way that was done was pitch perfect. One of the things they're saying here is this. After Halo, the relentless run-and-gun shooting gallery style fell out of favor for good, replaced by short, pulsing bursts of action. It's an amazing spectacle, and it aged well, polished, colorful, and crisp, with reach-outs and touch-hits, texture work, and eye-popping effects. Halo is a legend, an evolution in video games. Halo changed first-person shooting in its purest form. It might not be your game, and it's definitely not my type of game. Technically speaking, and facts shown and proves that Halo has opened up the world for the first-person shooter we now know and love. At number 6 is a game you might have expected to. Finally, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo. I'm not joking if I'm saying this, but yes, this is one of the best games ever. I've played it, and it has a huge world to explore. 2 worlds. Actually, it's the same world, but it's dark. And there are different kinds of paths to take. There are certain quests to do. There's a storyline. This is amazing. Sure, it's like this is like the Super Nintendo version of the NES one. You know, the first Zelda. And what a game it is. The first one was already fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but they've chosen this one. And what a great choice it is. This could have been number 1. But seriously, the number 1 is definitely a game that deserves its place. But Zelda: A Link to the Past this game is breathtaking, perfect presentation. This is yet again another perfect game made by Nintendo. Nintendo made a lot of great games, and trust me, A Link to the Past is definitely one of their... Every single side of Ocarina's Hyrule is there. The pastoral bliss, the rugged wilderness, the pathos and comedy and humanity, the spellbinding mystery. Link's transportation to the Dark World in A Link to the Past introduced the concept of parallel realms, and the series would never look back. It's the gameplay that does it for this game. The world you can explore, the many items you can have. Let's go to the top 5, people. Sorry it takes way too long. At number 5, we have a game for the Super Nintendo. Also a game that you might have expected already long ago. It's not the best Mario game on this list. Ooh, what am I saying? Super Mario World at number 5. Yes. Super Mario World at number 5. Did you expect any other game? Super Mario World is definitely one of the most trademarked side-scroller platform. And trust me, the games before Super Mario World were already perfect. Like Super Mario Bros. 1, 2 was pretty good. Super Mario Bros. 3 was fantastic. But Super Mario World actually perfected it. But like I'm saying, Super Mario World... Like I'm saying, they have to pick one game out of the series. And even though Yoshi's Island is differently from Super Mario World, so it is outside the series, technically speaking, because it's like a Yoshi game, obviously. Super Mario World is a true Mario side-scroller platform game we all know and love. Super Mario World deserves its place at number 5. Of course, they are mentioning Super Mario Bros. 3 too. Like, just listen to this. With Super Mario Bros. 3, it had laid the best possible groundwork. I mean, the fact that they already mentioned Super Bros. 3 as the groundwork, Super Mario World is like a Super Nintendo version of Super Mario Bros. 3. So you have to. It doesn't matter which one you choose, Super Mario Bros. 3 or Super Mario World. They're both perfect, and I guess they picked out the newer one. So number 5, Super Mario World. At number 4, we have a game. Yet again, like I'm saying with every game now, every game we stumble across, there is a game that deserves to be in this list. I'm not gonna hold you anymore. It's Half-Life 2, a game I don't have in my collection, but a game that I should have. Half-Life 2, yes, at number 4, what do you expect? I mean, maybe you've waited for Half-Life 1, maybe you waited for Half-Life 2, but choose Half-Life 1 or Half-Life 2 would be just fine. I mean, both of them are fantastic video games. Half-Life 1 has created first-person shooting for the PC, and Half-Life 2 was just a fantastic sequel. This is another pitch-perfect game. I mean, I've already played the PlayStation 3 version on the Orange Box game the PlayStation 3 had, and it's just as amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's all about the Half-Life 1 has created scripted events that people still use in video games. I know scripted events are like, oh, okay, we all know that, but Half-Life 1 has created scripted events that a lot of people has known, that a lot of people take for granted. And Half-Life 2 is, of course, a perfect sequel. I mean, there can be barely any other perfect sequels than Half-Life 2. A text is saying, while the Resident Evil 4 fighting system follows familiar patterns, a simple quickening of its pace has effected considerable change. Another text that has been saying, Valve take next to nothing from its peers. The exceptions being ID Software's blueprint for the first-person shooter and its old seminal predecessor. Half-Life 1 is seriously one of the biggest evolutions in video gaming, and Half-Life 2 is just a perfect sequel. So whether you choose part 1 or part 2, doesn't matter, both of them are perfect, and Half-Life 1 is perfect because it was new, and Half-Life 2 it was so breathtakingly good, Half-Life 1. At number 3, yes, we are at the top 3 now, is a game you had to expect when I started this video, a game you had to know it was in it. Super Mario 64. What else did you expect? Super Mario 64 is not only one of the best games ever. There's no discussion worth saying that. Even if you aren't a big fan of Super Mario 64, you would say that technically speaking, just like everything else is so perfect, but it is, like Half-Life, a revolution to be reckoned with. It is an unbelievable way of... Miyamoto insisted that it had to be fun simply to manipulate Mario with no rhyme or reason. It had to be fun before it was even drawn or animated. Another thing, the use of stars as a system of progression is so commonplace now that it's easy to forget how freedom it was just over 10 years ago. Remember, this platform game, this is actually the first 3D platform game that is amazing, more than amazing. But it's also one of the first... This was all before GTA. This was actually free roaming. The open levels, the presentation, the gameplay, and maybe the controls are a little bit hasn't aged all that well, but back in the day, controls couldn't be better. Super Mario 64 it's seriously one of the best games ever, and it has to be on this list, and I'm fine with the fact that it's number 3. Whether you like it or not, I mean, I personally will never play this game again. I've tried to play it, didn't get very far. I've played Mario Galaxy 2 and I've played Super Mario Sunshine, which are both fantastic video games as well. But Super Mario 64, it almost feels unsurpassed platforming. There's barely any 3D platforming games that comes close to Super Mario 64. Yeah, sure, you have Galaxies, but it's from the same game, so it's in the same series. But Super Mario 64, but not only is it a great game, the fact that this is one of the first 3D platform games, is astonishing. They could have made it a little bit less and it would be just fine, but they did extra. It was so... This game spoiled its player. Alright, now we are at the last 2. Maybe you've expected games to come. Maybe the games that you've expected to be number 1 has already passed this list. But at number 2 we have a game that's maybe a bit too high. I mean, number 2 is a big place in this list. Resident Evil 4 at number 2. Oh, trust me, when I saw this list, I was just as surprised as anybody. Maybe you're not surprised, maybe you expected it. But trust me, if I'm going to say that I was extremely surprised. Maybe this game should have made this list. Absolutely. This is a game that definitely deserves to be in its top 100. But the fact is number 2? This totally surprised me. Not that it was in the list, but it was at number 2. It's unbelievable. Resident Evil 4 is one of those fantastic video games. I mean, sure, about other games like Ico and like Super Mario 64, there's nothing else to say, but Resident Evil 4 is definitely one of those games that totally, threw me off as being good. I mean, I actually played the PlayStation 2 version. I borrowed it from a friend of mine. Another questionable game for Christians, although I have played it. And I have finished it, and I had a lot of fun with it. The system, the looking over your shoulder, this might be the best survival horror game ever created. Sure, you had System Shock, you had the first Resident Evils, you had Silent Hill, and those games are all on this list. And not that they are much worse than this game. No, they're not worse, they're all equally. But Resident Evil 4, and as a number 2, I kind of have my doubts, but everything is so well done in this game, from the graphics to the story, to the overall gameplay. You can collect money, weapons, items, bullets. Story, of course. It's challenging. It is, fun. It's just perfect. There's also, I sometimes had the feeling in Resident Evil 4 that there was free roaming. I know it's not really technically free roaming, but it sometimes felt like that for me. Because in the beginning, you walk up a path, and there's a dog stuck in some sort of a trap. And you need to let him go, so the dog will save you at a later boss. Or you could just let him there. But Resident Evil 4 at number 2. But it's still a deservable game that has to be on this list. Absolutely. At number 1. Finally, we have number 1 is a game I have in my collection. It is one of the best games ever, and a game I absolutely 100% agree that this is the number 1 game. Zelda Ocarina of Time. Yes, the second Zelda game, and yes, it deserves to be number 1. Zelda Ocarina of Time is definitely one of the best video games ever. Not only is the gameplay good, it looks beautiful for its time, it has fantastic story, it has great mechanics, everything is perfectly made, from controls, to the world, to the level design, to the dungeon design, just wonderful. But it's also the experience. This game has everything. And I have to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Zelda games. What I can say is that Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, I just had to play it. This game is so good. It had so much experience. Just like with Shenmue, you just want to play it. And this is definitely my favorite Zelda game, only because the game is so good. But the game is like, you play it, and you're like, wow. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time was just that I'm always thinking, when I see old games, I'm always thinking about when the time it came out. I mean, obviously, it's really unfair to see it anything differently. But looking at Zelda Ocarina of Time, for this time, there is no better game. Sure, Mario 64 could easily also be number 1. I'm okay with that. But Zelda Ocarina of Time, I'm okay with that too. This game screams adventure all over them. And then the Nintendo 64 has this game. Of course, to be honest, this game isn't hard to get and it's not very expensive. So if you haven't played this game yet, you can also buy a GameCube version. I would suggest playing this. It is an amazing experience. And sure, maybe the game is outdated. And sure, maybe the game hasn't aged well in some departments. But trust me, it is one of the best games ever. This game is so well made. Right, that was number 1. Of course, there are 4 pages yet again in the book. The moment I took Epona out for a ride, I knew it, Zelda 64 would have my life. Well, that's a little bit overreacted, obviously. So this was the official top 100. Now we're going to the next parts of this book. The book is almost closed. I'm going to have a quick view of the games that come after the official top 100. There are top 10s. Of certain genres, and there's a different top 100. I don't know what kind of top 100, but it's in the back. Maybe of games that should also have made this list. See you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, everybody.